All over the world, millions of species clash in nature's savage battle of survival. On land, in the water, and in the air, all are locked in deadly conflict. Animals fight tooth and claw to win food, territory, and rights to the bloodline. From the Namibian desert to the Amazon rainforest, there are no rules. This is Animal Fight Night. A lioness and a female Cape buffalo are engaged in full-on war. The lone lioness has her sights set on the buffalo's 3-month-old calf. But at 5 feet tall and weighing 1,000 pounds, this buffalo mother is an unstoppable force. Every time the lioness gets near to the helpless calf, the mother steps in and shuts down the attack. The lioness must be careful. An injured hunter is as good as dead. She can't get too close to the buffalo's 20-inch horns. She has to decide whether pursuing the kill is worth the risk. This hunt could end in dinner or disaster. Just before the lioness can make a choice, the bulldozing buffalo makes it for her. The calf looks safe, but it's not over. Lions are highly intelligent, and they're also masters of deception. They can vanish behind tall grass in a split second. It's how they stalk prey. As the buffalo mom chases the lioness off, she loses sight of her. The lioness vanishes. The calf is now alone and exposed. Suddenly, the predator emerges from her hiding place and attacks. It looks like game over for the calf. But the buffalo mother returns in the nick of time. She slams into the lion and fights off repeated attacks. But just when it looks like the cat has given up, the situation gets drastically worse for the buffalo. The action has attracted the attention of not one, but 2 more pride lionesses. The desperate mother fights on, but is fooled into a second trap. One of the lionesses lures her into a chase, and then a second corners her. She's caught between 2 full-grown killer cats, and knows that just yards away, the third already has her calf. Family is a lion's major strength. Today, it's the buffalo's weakness. It's all over for the baby and her courageous mother. Animals that live in groups have a natural advantage. They can rely on each other for food, warmth, and protection. But in some species, a pack can become a prison. Hyenas are one of the most numerous and aggressive large predators in Africa. And once they spot a potential target, almost nothing can stand in their way. Their hearts are massive, on average 20% bigger than a man's, meaning they have the endurance to chase prey over huge distances. And when meat is on the menu, table manners go out the window. A feeding frenzy ensues. But these chaotic scenes disguise a hierarchy. At the head of any hyena family is a hard-nosed leader. And unusually for the animal kingdom, it's nearly always a female. They grow to be bigger and stronger than males. More than 2.5 feet tall and 130 pounds. They must keep the clan safe. On the African plains, danger is never far away. Lions are the hyena's sworn enemy. They steal their meat and sometimes even kill clanmates. The only way hyenas can survive is with a strong leader. But over the years, this queen has turned into a tyrant. Two lower-ranking females kill an impala. Yet the queen hijacks the carcass, leaving them hungry. She bullies the weakest clan members, including mothers raising cubs. The queen is out of control, and the clan is at snapping point. Surviving here is perilous enough without threat from within. The tyrant must go. She's set upon. In a one-on-one fight, the hyena queen would easily overpower any of her followers. However, she's up against not just one, but all of them. They surround her, just like they would surround larger prey during a hunt. Each hyena has a bite force of more than 1,000 pounds, enough to crack a giraffe's thigh bone. And they attack as one. The hyenas could easily kill her and are known cannibals. But they stop short. It's already over for this tyrant. She's defeated. Her hind leg is ruined. The hyenas choose the clan over their leader, leaving her defenseless and surrounded by enemies. Living in a pack does not guarantee that an animal is safe. But for animals that work alone, every single second of the day is fraught with perils. When a hungry cheetah locks onto a Thompson's gazelle, all the prey animal can do is run for its life. And when there's no other escape option, sometimes they're forced to make a desperate move. A river offers safety from the deadly hunter, but it can be out of the frying pan and into the fire. African rivers are infested with Nile crocodiles. The prey is consumed. The crocs look to have bagged another antelope escaping from a cheetah. But in fact, it's an animal fight like no other. This time, it's the cheetah that's under attack. It chased the antelope all the way into the deadly water. The prey is already being torn apart, and the big cat is next. A crocodile has him by the tail, and he's fighting for his life. A cheetah struggles to escape the jaws of death. A crocodile has it by the tail and is trying to drag it into the murky water. Only seconds ago, the king of speed was living the life of a big game hunter. But he chased an antelope all the way into croc-infested water. Now he's under attack. The antelope doesn't stand a chance. But the big cat is putting up more of a fight. He aims a bite at the crocodile's head, but he's way out of his depth. The cat makes a break for it. It can't let the crocodile get a good grip. Once those giant jaws close, it's almost impossible to pry them open. The cheetah makes it to the bank. It's a grotesque tug of war. And for the cheetah, failure means death. Exhausted from his hunt and savaged by the crocodile, the cheetah stops struggling. But the croc momentarily opens its jaws to get a better grip. It's all the cheetah needs to break free. He scrambles up the bank to safety. But it could have ended in disaster. No animal can go without food. But often, it's the simple search for the fuel of life that can bring a creature right up to the jaws of death. Namibia is a hotbed of predators. So for many egg-bearing mothers-to-be, the safest place to lay is in underground burrows, tucked away from hungry mouths. But there's an armed robber here that can find even the most carefully hidden nests. The monitor lizard. 6 feet long, 25 pounds, and armed with deadly sharp claws. This monitor is a safecracker. And today, he's struck gold. The monitor dives in. Bingo! A reptile's egg is a high-calorie snack. When it's gone, he moves on to find the next burrow. But unfortunately for the safecracker, there's a bounty hunter on patrol. It's a honey badger. And he's in the mood for cracking skulls. The armed robber hisses a warning. His claws are as fit for fighting as they are for raiding burrows. But the bounty hunter isn't intimidated. He's armed and ready to use deadly force. The honey badger's skull is massive, and it features a wide, short muzzle. It has 4 upper and lower cheek teeth on each side, and thick, sharp canines at the front, designed for clamping down on enemies rather than shearing flesh. The jaw muscles of the badger are so overdeveloped that when it bites onto something, it's almost impossible to force open. The honey badger is built to bite. They keep side on to each other and avoid leaving their heads open to attack. If the honey badger can use his jaws, or the monitor can use his claws, it would be game over. The safe breaker snaps at the badger. And he falls back into the burrow. It's the Monitor's chance to make a clean getaway. But the bounty hunter is tenacious. He grabs the Monitor's tail and drags him back to the scene of the crime. In the narrow hole, the Monitor has nowhere to run. And the honey badger overpowers him, locking his jaws onto the doomed lizard's face. The honey badger bounty hunter has caught the culprit and gives the armed robber the heaviest sentence there is. In the wild, the struggle to find food is a never-ending task. But sometimes, the most dangerous challenge of all is to guarantee the bloodline. Black rhino females are incredibly protective mothers. They give birth to a single calf at a time, and they will stay together for up to 4 years. But she will be ready to mate during that time. Rhinos have an incredible sense of smell, and a passing male picks up the female's scent. Trouble is, this rhino mom is not in the mood. All her attention is on her offspring. But he isn't getting the message. He's not the smartest beast on the plains. For such large animals, black rhinos have surprisingly small brains, weighing only 15 to 20 ounces. Half that of an adult human. But that doesn't mean he should be underestimated. At 3,000 pounds, he's 16 times heavier than the average man. If he wanted to, he could seriously injure the female and kill the calf. The mother's refusal is only frustrating the big male. He's willing to use force. A male black rhino wants to mate with a female, but she's only interested in protecting her calf. Even though she weighs as much as a powerboat, he drives her backwards through the dirt, kicking up huge clouds of dust. Now, engulfed in the haze, her calf is in extreme danger. Rhino eyesight is poor. In clear conditions, they can only see up to 100 feet away. In the thick dust, the male could easily trample the calf. The mother spins around to run away, but the big male won't stop. In his frenzy, he uses his deadly tipped 2-foot-long horn and lifts her back end clear off the ground. She may have inch-thick hide, but he could still puncture her side. If she's injured, her baby's life could be at risk. The cloud begins to clear. And the baby is unharmed. The big bull realizes that even though he can push this mother around, she's no pushover. His only choice is to find a more willing mating partner. Rhinos rely on muscle power far more than brain power to get what they want. But it's often the most intelligent animal species that are the most violent. Southern Ethiopia. This is a harsh land where food and water can be scarce. But one particular primate species flourishes here. Hamadryas baboons. These highly intelligent creatures live in huge social groups of up to 750. They spend the long, cold nights nesting together in cliffs, safe from their deadly enemies, hyenas and leopards. There's no one leader. Instead, smaller harems within the group are watched over by dominant males. This one rules with an iron fist. He's a battle-scarred warlord. 4.5 feet long from nose to tail, powerfully built and armed with razor-sharp teeth. When morning comes, he leads his followers down to the plains to find food. He keeps a close watch, punishing any troublemakers in his group. But when they finally make it to the feeding grounds, he faces a much bigger problem. A rival troop from further along the cliff. The warlord has fought their leader before. As well as being tough survivors, baboons have good memories. They remember past battles, and they learn from experience. The two armies clash. Enemy males go on the attack. But the rival leader has another aim: to steal a female. The one he wants resists. So the raider bites her with his brutal 1.5-inch canines. Injuries like this can be life-threatening. The female escapes with her life, but the violence for her is not done. Despite her loyalty, the warlord attacks her again as a stark message to his harem. Betray me, and there will be consequences. If he is to maintain control and keep his bloodline strong, he can never show weakness. The sheer diversity of the animal kingdom leads to bizarre clashes in the never-ending battle of survival. But every now and then, two animals so unusual come together that it proves fact can be stranger than fiction. Woodpeckers peck for two main reasons: to find insects living in tiny cracks in the bark, and to excavate nesting holes in the trunk. This head-banging bird seems to be putting the last few touches to her home. But this nest is under attack. It's a yellow-bellied puffing snake. And this brightly colored serpent is after the nest's precious residents, chicks. The woodpecker's offspring are in extreme danger. Compared to the diminutive bird, the snake is a monster, up to 9 feet long. It puffs its neck out in a stark warning. It's not venomous, but could suffocate the bird by catching and coiling itself around it. It lunges time and time again at the anxious mother. But the woodpecker is not giving up. She's going to do what she does best. Very few animals could dish out this sort of cranial punishment. But these incredible birds are built to last. Inside the head is a flexible bone called the hyoid, which passes up from its nostrils around the back of its skull before connecting to the tongue. When pecking, the longer upper half of the beak absorbs most of the impact, diverting shock waves along the hyoid into the surrounding muscles and tongue. This keeps the brain protected from impact deceleration, more than 1,000 times stronger than gravity. The woodpecker is relentless, and it won't take her long to shred the serpent's flesh. A yellow-bellied puffing snake attacks a woodpecker's nest. But the head-banging mother is on the offensive, using her shock-absorbing skull to deliver multiple stabs to the snake's side. The serpent strikes back and comes away with a mouthful of feathers. But the determined mother still won't leave her chicks. Her bravery is putting her own life on the line. The snake grabs her by the throat. She must now escape or die. The woodpecker forces her way free. But the serpent has won. And with the woodpecker mother defeated, it goes back to the nest to devour the unguarded chicks. Some creatures try to live their lives under the radar, unseen and unheard. But when the survival of an animal's offspring are at stake, it can turn a cunning creature into a ferocious fighter. The English countryside is harboring a calculating killer. A red fox. This male is on the prowl for meat. As a distant relative to wolves, he has an excellent sense of smell and can hear a watch ticking from 40 yards away. He's identified a potential meal. A male and female raising a pair of pups. On rare occasions, foxes can be cannibals. If he gets near, he could kill and eat them, and then try to mate with the female. But the father fox is ready to defend them. A fox will give off warnings in the run-up to a fight. DEFCON 3. The father fox stands tall and arches his back to make himself big and intimidating. But the killer isn't scared easily. DEFCON 2. Dad hunkers down and barks aggressively. Unlike other canids, foxes do not have the facial muscles to bare their teeth. So he opens his jaw fully to flash his inch-long canines. But it's no use. The attacker has a thirst for blood. DEFCON 1. Fearing for his cubs, Dad attacks. The rivals line up shoulder to shoulder and drive against each other in a test of strength. The cubs watch on anxiously. If their father can't win the fight, their lives are at risk. The males are equals in power, so they resort to teeth, lunging at each other's throats. They shake their heads violently to tear skin and rip flesh. The vixen is about 20% smaller than the males. Even so, she stays close to the fight. Spurred on by her presence, the father fox finds a burst of speed and power and drives the killer away from the cubs, delivering wounding bites to his back legs. The killer is beaten and limps away. The fox family can return to the safety of the den. In the wild, fighting is often a last resort. The risks of injury or death are just too great. But there are some species that, when threatened, will only ever attack. Carpenter ant colonies are like empires. They have a particular goal: to expand. But with each new batch of soldiers born, the resource demands of the empire increases. They need more food and more territory. But they must also be ready to defend their own. A team of rival carpenter ant scouts has entered an empire's territory. Their intrusion will not be tolerated. And when ants engage in battle, it's to the death. The empire strikes back. These ants may be less than half an inch long, but they are unbelievably strong. Ant muscles are exceptionally powerful in proportion to their tiny size. A bigger ant would change things. Muscle strength increases, but to a smaller degree than overall weight. The ant's muscles would begin to struggle. Make it human size, and the ant would be instantly crushed under the burden of its own massive body. Being small means it can carry itself and objects many times its own weight, including enemies. The rival scouts are heavily outnumbered by the Empire soldiers. But in the swarm, it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish friend from foe. If even one enemy soldier is not quickly destroyed, they could signal for their entire army of thousands. A team of rival carpenter ant scouts has entered an empire's territory. If the home soldiers cannot identify and destroy them, the colony is at risk of a total enemy invasion. Luckily for the Empire, ants have a hidden super sense. Their probing antennae are covered in hair-like protrusions called sensilia. They pick up the enemy's pheromones, biological scents, and pass them down a nerve fiber to the brain. Ants have up to 5 times more odor receptors than most other insects. So they're able to pick up the tiniest changes in smell. And each enemy army has their own scent, meaning a rival soldier stands out in even the densest crowd. The raiders are identified and locked down. More and more Empire soldiers appear. swarming them. Strangely, some of the ants display a stinging action, even though they have no stinger. New research suggests that ants are descended from wasps, so at one point would have been similarly armed. The action could be instinctive. Finally, the Empire starts a cleanup operation. Using immensely powerful pincers, like a firefighter's cutters, they slowly tear the invading scouts apart. The true resilience of the raiding ants is gruesomely demonstrated. Even those that are cut in two continue to struggle until the very last drop of their energy is gone. The Empire is triumphant, but only until the next attack. Many insect groups use a vast number of soldiers to overpower and overwhelm their enemies. But in species where each family member is as important as the next, a subtle strategy can be as effective as all-out war. The darkest corners of Northern Europe have been the inspiration behind countless fairy tales. And it's for good reason. Fearsome beasts roam here. The Eurasian wolf is an expert hunter. At 120 pounds and standing 2.5 feet high, they are streamlined killing machines. And by working as a pack, they can hunt and overwhelm prey. They need plenty of meat. A single wolf can consume up to 20 pounds in one sitting. But sometimes, food can be scarce. To survive, they must scavenge. Easier said than done. Often it means stealing from another predator. And the wolves are not the biggest beasts in these woods. The only predators who have any meat are a family of Eurasian brown bears. The adult male is massive, 700 pounds, with claws that can grow up to 4 inches long. He's powerful enough to crush a wolf under his bulk. They're picking over the last remnants of a kill. But to a hungry wolf, even a shredded carcass is a banquet. Trying to steal it would be a huge gamble, but the leader of the pack knows that without food, his family is doomed. A scavenging pack of Eurasian wolves are playing with fire. They've found a family of bears who have meat, and the wolf leader is willing to risk his life and his pack to steal it. The wolves test the male bear. Perhaps he'll abandon his share of the meat. No such luck. He's not intimidated. The wolves know if they get too close, they're as good as dead. Brown bears are immensely strong and have jaws that could crush a bowling ball. The only way to steal his food is with numbers. 3 wolves against the 2 adult bears. One of the wolves makes a darting run at the carcass. But is knocked away. In a straight line dash, bears can nearly match them for speed. But in close quarters, the agile wolves just have the edge. They all join in, trying to draw the bears away from the food. The big male comes within biting distance of a thief, and only just misses. But in his eagerness to see them off, he leaves his food unguarded for a split second. It's the gap the wolves are looking for. They steal one meal, and then the second. The scavenging wolf strategy has beaten the bears. All around the world, animals have adapted to compete for survival in their own environments. But there are some species out there so tough that they're ready and willing to pick a fight anywhere. The American mink has a soft coat. Their reputation for naked aggression is second to none. Once they have a target in their sights, they can be relentless killers. And they're all-terrain assassins. Equally dangerous on land and in the water. As this unsuspecting herring gull is about to find out. Mink can swim for up to 100 feet fully submerged. And a sneak torpedo attack gets him onto the gull's back. Up here, he's safe from the bird's vicious 2.5-inch beak. And the mink delivers a bite, aiming to damage vital nerves. The bird gets a chance to escape. But the bite has disabled him. He can't get airborne. The torpedo won't give in. So the seagull goes on the offensive. He opens his beak wide to clamp it around his opponent. But the expert diver hangs on. The gull is at risk of drowning. He changes tactic and uses his beak as a dagger. But the torpedo keeps coming. The bird's stabs can't find their target. His energy reserves are near zero. The merciless torpedo circles, looking to finish the fight. But the desperate seagull finishes it first. A direct hit to the mink's eye. It disarms the killer torpedo and sends him back to dry land. The bird wins, but now flightless, he's less seagull and more sitting duck for the next mink attack.